That's not graffiti, Mom. I'm an artist, it's not graffiti.
Hello, you dirty potters. How are you today? I got the good stuff for you today. We're gonna go and deface public property like a little jet set radio kid. Welcome to, technically, another episode of Glaze Review, where I take glazes off the shelf, companies send me stuff, and I test them for you before they even get into your beautiful little pottery hands. In today's video, we are testing the new line of Velvet Spray Underglazes from the AMACO company. These are amazing. I've been playing with these a little bit, and I am far more excited to play with these than you might think. Listen, hear me out. It sounds very weird. Hear me out. No, stop typing right now. Hear me out. It sounds weird, but these are so easy to use, and they are so, you have no, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna show you. First and foremost, I must say that today's video is sponsored by AMACO. They are the ones who sent us these products. The link for the product will be down below. Thank you very much, AMACO. I very much appreciate it. And on top of that, other than me mentioning the sponsorships, there are no ads for this episode, which means this video will have no ads on it. That's what I'm talking about, baby, yeah. The Velvet Sprays are exactly what you think they are. They're essentially a sprayable underglaze, anywhere from cone 0, 5, all the way to 10, and they come in a variety of colors. Here in today's video, we have white and black, but they also come in things such as yellow, they come in things such as red, they come in, I think there's a blue one back here, blue, green. They sent me a bunch of these. In today's video, we're going to be stacking them with the brand new clay body from AMACO, Dark Chocolate. Not only that, we're also going to be comparing it to another black clay body just to see if there's any difference. There it is. I was having trouble finding this one because usually I designate the color by the band at the top, but I can't really see this one too well because the background is black. That's not a complaint, that is what we call a skill issue. AMACO has also sent us a few bags of their new dark chocolate clay body. They've just come out with a new line of clay bodies that are the chocolate line. There's white chocolate, milk chocolate, and dark chocolate. Dark chocolate promises to be a black clay body without the problems that usually come with black clay bodies. For those of you who haven't used really dark iron saturated or black clay bodies before, they often bloat somewhere past cone 4 or 5. This is because a lot of the stuff that makes them that color black counts as contaminants that end up gassing off within the clay body and cause this problem. This problem is called bloating. And if any of you have ever had experience with any black clay bodies, you know that this is a major problem. I've only ever found 2 companies that promise to fix this problem and have done a banger job. It is the AMACO company and the AMACO company with their new dark chocolate clay body. And in today's video, not only are we testing some of the new Velvet sprays on this clay body, we also have a competitor in that I have saved an AMACO and an AMACO bisque pot of both their night clay body and their dark chocolate clay body, so we can compare the two. Oh my God, how did he get it so fast? I went to the NCCA convention and they were handing these out, so I took these back with me on the train, and I assumed that they were gonna ask me to play with these sooner or later, so I do have some prepped just in case. I'm telling you, that's Batman's entire superpower, is just money and preparation. Let's try this one out really quick. We have both the white and the black one today, so I think we need a good contrast. I'm gonna be testing out the white Velvet spray on the black clay bodies, and I'm gonna get the black one and test it. Let's see, on a B mix with grog white clay body, so we have some sort of comparison to see how strong each one is. I've never tried this before, so let's do it on something that won't. Oh, never mind, I'm dumb.
Oh, that smells good. Oh, that smells good.
I bought these little stencils from Joann Fabrics, and they're like little blotchy stencils, right? So we have some of this, and my first idea when they sent these to me were to kind of screen them through these to see. So let's test out a 1, 2, and 3 layer with this one here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this here, we're gonna spray it on, and we're gonna spray it for 1 second, and then 2 seconds, and then 3 seconds, and we're gonna see how deep of a color we can get with these Velvet sprays in comparison to our application, because application does matter. The thickness of application in between a 1 second dip and a 3 second dip is massive for some glazes. And I imagine it's gonna be the same for this. In a world where I did this before. Let's see. Oh. Okay. All right. Huh. This is kind of spray-y, you know, it kind of blotches everywhere. So maybe I need something that would sieve it or mesh it through properly in order to get something that has a more exact line. What about this silk screen I have here? Would this work? No, it is not that exact. My first thought was that I'll be able to just spray this through one of my silk screens and I won't have to do the silk screen thickener and do the whole process and wait 10, 20 minutes for everything to thicken up and exchange inside the suspension. But this here is kind of blotchy, even though you can see it tried. So we're gonna wipe this off. Let's try this stencil now. And we're just gonna try stuff until it sticks. Right there. Let it dry a little bit, take it off. No, I think it's far too spray-y to end up being any type of uniform pattern. So I think this is gonna be a much more free-form thing. This is kind of curved though, so let's see if we can do it on something that is not super curved. Let's do it on a piece of paper. Maybe it's me, maybe it's user error. Let's just try it on this piece of paper right here with some of the black. Put it down here, spray it on. Let it dry a little bit. Take it off. Oh! Okay, so it's just me. It's just it's user issue. It's my problem. Okay, so you can definitely do the thing that I'm talking about. It's very clear that you can do it here. Maybe I just need to do it on something that's not curved like this to get a flat surface. So maybe it'll work better on a plate or something like that. Let's try it with some of the blues. Because now that I can clearly see this black, and you can see that there's a little bit of smudging there, but that's my fault. I should really do something like this. I should put it down, put it here, spray it on, and then I should let it dry and not move it until everything kind of evaporates. I'm sure that a hairdryer or something would work better for this time, but we'll speed the camera up so you don't have to wait. It worked fantastic up here. It didn't work so much with the blue, but I'm assuming because I kind of did it halfway right here, if I get enough practice in, I can probably do this on my pots without much error. At the moment, I assume it's just user error. We also have these animal shapes here, and I have a bunch of them. I think I can just kind of peel out. Will this work? I'm just doing it straight on the table, actually. These are a little more flexible, so I assume I can just do this to it, right? Leave it there for a little bit. Let it dry. And of course, lie to you because I'm impatient. I'm gonna tear it off right away. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so it doesn't work too well on a curved surface, but on a flat surface, it works. I just need work that has a relatively flat surface, something like a plate or, I really don't know what else other than a plate. But if I'm making something like this, I'm gonna have to have something that curves all the way around in a uniform pattern. That's nice to know. Okay, so these do work with stencils to some degree, but it will take practice. Hold on, if it works with the negative, and I can take the things apart from these, like these come in stencils, and you tear them out, right? If that works, I should be able to put the rhino head here, and I should be able to get the black, spray this on. Oh, it works! I'm getting a little bit of friendly fire on the sides here, but it works. Oh, that's cool. You know what? I think there's a world where I can fix this problem because my fat fingers are right here and you can see that they're getting in the way. So I think I can probably do something like this. Put tape on the back of this, put this on here, take this, and then spray. That's just the rhino's body, by the way. Spray this head on. Take it off. Yes. Yes. A genius, some would say. No, no, I just have the good brain cells. Yes. Okay, if this works, if that works that way, then that must, I'm so excited to play for these right now. Hold on. This whole video might just be me experimenting with the new Velvet sprays. And of course, we're gonna fire them. I know some of you right now are like, dude, get on with the review. Trust me, this is important because this is the first time I'm opening the product as well. So you're kind of going along the ride with me. of discovering how these glazes really work. So if the Rhino works in that way with a tape on the back, of course there's a little bit of collateral damage, then that does mean I should be able to do something like this and do something like this, question mark? And I should be able to do this kind of segmented body part type thing. This is a black clay body, so I should be able to do something like that and like that. Okay? And then when I tear it off, I should get a segmented rhino head. Of course, this is my first time doing it, and you do have to forgive me considering the fact that this is probably poorly done. But the fact that I can do some semblance of it now with zero practice on camera means that you can probably do this on an expert level later on. That is awesome. In fact, you know what? I'm pretty sure my daughter has some, hold on. I have a 3-year-old that's potty training, so I was so sure that I could find a sticker somewhere in the house, and here it is. And of course this is a spray, so there's going to be outside collateral damage, you know, but I think if I do that and then wait for it to dry a little bit, you can see it getting soaked up by the bisque pores. Peel it off, which is difficult. Oh yeah, sticker would work way better. Okay, confirmed. Look at those crisp edges right there. That's cool. Okay, cool. We just discovered something big within like 20 minutes. Okay, we should probably start messing around and actually do our experiments now. So let's get to that real quick. My immediate hope is that I could do stuff like this, where I put these really clean, crisp, silkscreen underglaze type things that I use for a thickener on with the velvet sprays that AMACO sent me. I thought I could do something this clean and this crisp with this, but there's so much collateral damage that happens when you spray stuff on that's not really a possibility. Even if you got the exact, you would need a shield around it like this. So if we put something here like this and we decide to spray some of the white velvet sprays on it like this outer edge here shields against this collateral damage, which I even got a little bit like right here. But so it doesn't really work on a piece because usually my pieces are not this large unless I'm doing something like a very, very large vase. And so you can get a perfect blotch like this once you take it off. And I think I have a very large vase somewhere here in the studio that I can display that with. If you wanted to do something like this with a stencil, you would essentially have to, let's pick out some red and some blue, and we can also pick out some orange. I think if you did something like this and you held down the stencil and you had it relatively flat, let's see if this red will work real quick. There it goes. Shake it up well beforehand. You could do something like this. Boom, that's pretty good. I like that. But this is only because I have this shield around it. If I didn't have the shield around it, and I was going for something right here, the second that I spray this, and let's do it real close, you automatically get some collateral right here. I don't want this. I just want the stencil. And as we saw before, you can use a sticker, but you're still gonna get that cone effect that usually will go beyond the sticker itself, giving you what I'm calling for the video, this collateral damage right here. So let's take, this is the black clay body dark chocolate from AMACO, the new one we were talking about earlier. It comes out like this at the end of its life cycle. And a lot of people get confused who are newer to the ceramic art world because this doesn't look like the color it comes out as. But realistically, the bag looks like this. The clay looks like this. But at the end of its life cycle, it will come out like this after it comes out of the glaze. So be aware of that. Don't get frightened just because it's a little bit lighter in the bisque. It just is different color, and that's a fairly normal thing in the clay world. So let's take something with a good contrast, like some white velvet spray here. And let's just spray it on. Okay, let's do one layer up here. Done. Let's do 2 layers down here. 1. 3. There's a really thick layer applied at the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna fire this, and we're gonna see if there's a difference in opacity in between 1, 2, and 3 a thick layer down here. I put a third layer here, and I put it really thick just to make sure. So this will be a good gradient in between 1, 2, and 3 layers for our tests on a black clay body, especially with this beautiful contrast in between their dark clay body and this white velvet spray here. And of course, we have to test it against the night clay made by the AMACO company in Sacramento, California, that also turns black. One more layer. Right there. Okay. This is going to be our comparison test in between the night clay body from AMACO and the dark chocolate clay body from AMACO. We glazed them the exact same way. I'm going to put a liner glaze in them, of course, just because, in case anybody wants to buy it on the website, earthnationceramics.com. I don't see why you would, because it's pretty much underglaze with a liner glaze in it, but just in case somebody wants a piece of the channel, I don't want to waste product, so I will be putting it up on the website. So these two are done. Now I know that if I can do this, I should be able to do it in different colors. It's not like I'm bound to using the colors white and black. And I have some kind of dark green here. So let's use some of this. Some red. Some dark green. Oh yeah. That rocks. That's so cool. Why is that so hot? Oh, that's sexy. That seemed really, we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave it like that. Let's do another one. This is fun. I don't even care about the results. This is fun. This is just fun. You know what I mean? Do you know how long it's been since I've had fun in the ceramic art world? Like you don't understand. I'm constantly making glazes over here. I have tons of notes back here, tons of tests all the time. I constantly have a gram scale out, test aisles. I'm weighing specific gravity. I have a syringe. I label my stuff properly. I'm consistently and constantly like relabeling things. I have viscosity stuff. Like I have all of these things out all the time. I have bags of minerals just out all the time on my desk. And for the first time in a while, I don't have to play scientist. It's just fun. I feel like along the way, at a certain point, ceramics, once it gets too far into the like, no, this is the way things should be, you lose the fun aspect of it. But I don't know anything about these other than that they're probably just a sprayable underglaze. And I'm having the funniest of fun. Let's try and control it. I did spray my hand. Oh, I like that. I don't like the orange that much, but that's my own personal problem. I just don't like the orange. The green rocks, though. I love the green. I'm really attached to the green right now. I will say, I think if you can apply it correctly, you can do here, here, here. You can kind of control it a little bit. A little up and down there, right? And I think if you over apply it, you can make drippy drips on purpose, which I know a lot of you out there love the drippy drips. You know what I'm finding an affinity for as I do this is that I don't really like the concentrated version of these colors, but I really like this misty version. And it seems like the misty version is dependent on my application as for how far or close I am. So here, let's take this. If I take this black clay body from AMACO, this is their dark clay body, and I get a white one of these, and I spray it up close, I don't know what I just did, but I love that. What is that? Did I just hit the limit break? Did it clump up in the nozzle and it sprayed out a clump of white underglaze all at once? I love that. Oh, did I let it dry? Did I accidentally let it dry in the nozzle, and when I sprayed it, the pressure pushed it out and it made this gunshot of a color? That is cool. Wow. I'm sorry that this video isn't the usual, like, let's test 1, 2, 3 layers combos. I'm just really having fun with this. Anyway, back to my original point. I do really like this kind of particleized look. I like this look way more than I like this look. This look, I don't know. This seems sloppy to me. It's just my own personal aesthetic, but this kind of seems like there wasn't any real intent other than just making a blotch. This kind of seems like Jackson Pollocky to me, where it's like, okay, we get it. Everyone on Instagram is doing splatters. This seems like accidentalizing purposefulness, where I'm just like doing it on purpose, but I'm doing things on accident, and that's what I meant to do in the first place. As for these kind of controlled far away looks, kind of look like I'm actually spraying the surface, and it looks like I'm coating something with intent. And hopefully that makes sense. I'm not saying that art style doesn't have a place in the art world. I'm just saying I'm not partial to it. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's spray this one by half. We're gonna spray this one by half. It's about 3 layers of the spray on, and we're gonna leave this side majoritively untouched, except for that blotch right there. We're gonna fire all 4 of these and see how it goes. Let's let's clean up first, because I do look like I'm from a paint shop right now. One key thing that I'm learning, especially with the use of these right now, is that this nozzle does get clogged really easily. So when you put these away, you should be wiping this nozzle down and then sealing them back up. Do not let them get clogged, because over the course of this video, I've done this blotch, this shotgun of kind of spray from everything getting clogged in the nozzle about 3 different times already. And if you don't want this, you should be cleaning your nozzle in between sets. You could see it happening all across every single color too. This one, they clog pretty easily. That one clogged. Put the nozzle back on. That's the red one. What about the green one? The green one has some clog in it right there. Wipe that down before you put it away. It's just like your bottles of glazes. If you clean the threads, it becomes a lot easier to open up later. One other suggestion that I would make while using these velvet sprays is that you should probably either make some sort of backdrop or put a towel down or a large piece of wax paper down or something to protect your table or your work that you might be holding over to the side, because I am making quite the mess. And if I had a bunch of tests right here, I have them over there, but if I had them right here and I sprayed and the cone of effect went here, I've effectively contaminated my tests for color. So if my blue glazes have a hint of green in them, you'll know why. Okay, and as we usually do, let's talk about what we're putting in the kiln before we put it in. I will be running all of these at cone 6 oxidation. This one here is AMACO Night Clay Body. This is a black clay body from the AMACO company. Here we have 1, 2, and 3 sprayed layers, respectively, with the velvet white from AMACO. The only reason I'm doing this white and black move is for the contrast, so we can see if we can see through to the black clay body while there's at least 1 or 2 layers of the white on there. And I sprayed them in front of you on camera so you can kind of judge for yourself how much I put on. But I rotated it on a little Shimpo spinny wheel, and I made sure to coat it at least an extra time going all the way through. The bottom one here having the most contact with this sprayable underglaze. It has the most layers on it. This one over here, however, is the AMACO dark chocolate clay body with the same treatment. So we have 1, 2, and 3, possibly even 4 layers respectively. In my experience, whenever I deal with underglazes, I tell my students 2 layers should be fine. And that's because I've experimented a lot with them with my clear gloss glazes. 1 layer, you can sort of see through it. 2 layers is pretty strong, and 3 layers is strong, but it's not so much stronger than 2 layers that I need to worry about putting a 3rd layer and getting the exact paint stroke that I did before if I decide to paint something on the body as a canvas. So I'm hoping that these are in the same way, that the 2 layer and the 3 layer look identical, and the 1 layer kind of looks like, okay, it could use more. But these will be the consistency tests in between these 2. This one here is the same clay body. This is the AMACO dark chocolate clay body, but the difference is that I sprayed this one with white about halfway, and then the rest of the body I left bare with 1 little test subject in the middle. So this one is sort of to see the major contrast in between white and black. I sprayed it about halfway. And this one here, we were just having fun with, to be honest with you. This is, I'm pretty sure, either a bee mix with grog or a dragon fruit clay body. I actually can't quite remember. I didn't keep track because I was having tons of fun with this. Keep in mind that there are some spots that are a little less coated than other spots, and we're going to be looking for these spots when we put a clear gloss glaze over it, because I think that's what most people are looking for when they use underglazes. They want to see if it'll react with an overglaze or a natural glaze on top of it to see if they can still keep their color. That's what we're putting in the kiln. With that being said, let's get started.
No, it's not graffiti, Mom. I'm an artist, it's not graffiti.
Okay, now that everything's out of the kiln, let's take a look. The first thing I wanted to show you might be a bit of a culture shock for you on this channel because we are mainly a wheel-thrown pottery channel, but I do know how to sculpt. That being said, I made this sheep and covered it in the velvet sprays. It came out pretty good. The black came out fantastic. Hold on. It didn't seem to blend too well. I think that's just user error. That's my fault. But other than that, I'm not disappointed with this whatsoever. The black is tremendously black, and if you put enough layers on it, it almost does look like that velvet they promise you on the bottle from the spraying version of it. It does have this very sinewy black. I'm gonna stop stroking the sheep right now. But you will notice where I don't spray enough of the black velvet on, it stops giving you that black type of velvety sheen. It's only when you put enough of it on where it gets like this. Let me see if there's another spot here where I can kind of, yeah, you see here, if you put maybe 2 layers on instead of 3 layers spraying, or we'll have to put that down into seconds or something, that ends up happening instead of this right here, which is really what you want from the velvets. Let's take a look at our layer testers because that's the most interesting thing about these experiments that we're doing today. Let's take a look at our comparison testers first for our layering sprays. Now remember, we have a black clay body from the AMACO company, and we also have black chocolate from the AMACO company. And the two blacks seem to come out essentially the same black. I can tell virtually no difference. These two are important testers because, again, it tests the 1, 2, and 3 layers, 1, 2, and 3 layers here for our clay bodies respectively. And on top of that, we really get to see a good comparison in between the dark chocolate and the night clay from AMACO. And I will say, it seems to me that the AMACO clay body does get a little bit darker, but before you put a jury out on that, I will say, I've been using the AMACO clay body for quite some time, and I've been using maybe 50 pounds of it over the course of my testing. And I have had this bloat on me on 2 out of maybe 20 pieces. So it's not like this clay body is totally bloat proof. That being said, the bloat did happen underneath double firing circumstances. So I fired it once, it didn't bloat, I fired it again, and then it bloated. This so far, I fired twice in a row, and it hasn't bloated on me even in the second firing. So take the information that this one seems darker than this one with a grain of salt. The thing that I'm very interested about is the layering and the application here. When we look here, we notice the 1 layer, 2 layers, and 3 layers. It does seem to me that 3 layers do need to be applied in order to get very dark color, especially with the white and black glazes. You really need to put on a standard amount of layers. You can't get away with putting on 2 layers. You can't get away with putting on 1 layer and getting a very deep velvet white like they promise you on the bottle. Granted, these are relatively new and there's not really a recommended amount of layers because that kind of depends and is up to you. But I would like to confirm here, throughout most of my testing, 3 layers does seem to be the standard that you need to put on. 3 layers being 3 seconds coating on 1 area. So if you spray for 1 second up here, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 1, 2, and 3 layers respectively. The really difficult part about this, for me personally, is that there's a difference in between how close you get to the actual spray. So your application matters far more than how many seconds you apply the glaze. Let's take this red one for example, because I think this would be a good tester. The amount of glaze you get on here is different from the amount of glaze you would get on here, just because you're so close. And that's a prime thing for this glaze. That really needs to be tuned in. As far as the distance goes, your application really needs to be on point for what you're looking for in this specific glaze application. So the application, as far as the distance and the time in which you spray, really needs to be tuned in for your personal wants and needs. And before we go on any further, I really want to pound that point in. The distance and the amount of seconds of applied velvet spray really decide the amount of color that you're getting here. And that personally is up to you. And our second tester from the AMACO company echoes that as well. When you look at this, you can see 1 layer doesn't even show up, 2 layers kind of shows up, and 3 layers is actually giving us the white color that's promised on the spray can. This is just a confirmation of what I said earlier, really. These two actually provided fantastic information about how the glaze ought to be applied regardless of the clay body. Now, if we look at the other one that we played with for a little bit, the good old half and half one over here, we can see our our kind of shotgun blast of color right here. And I'm not too partial to this, but it is nice to know that I can get this if I clog up the hole and then spray it out one good time. And all the color kind of blasts in one point. I actually don't like this as a standalone, but I think if I did this on purpose on a piece to kind of mimic some kind of galaxy look with the Milky Way or something, it could definitely be incorporated into a piece with that type of motif and storyline behind it. But it is very nice to know that this is essentially what it will do with most of the colors if you let the hole get clogged like we did earlier and then just spray it really close. A good old shotgun blast. As far as the black clay body here, you can see around this shotgun blast that it is a very, very nice and true black chocolate clay body, just like the company promised us. This is something that I like a lot, mainly because if the company says the clay turns black without bloating, and that's prime for me. You know, if a company says something does a thing and it doesn't do that thing, I exit off the list and I don't buy that product again. But hand over hand, this has been turning dark chocolate with no bloating whatsoever. How does it work on glazes? I don't know yet. We haven't tested that. We're going to test it in a future episode. But for now, it does turn black as promised. Now the other side has a very healthy coat of the white velvet spray from AMACO. And this is just awesome. You can see a small gradient here from the distance of spraying. I sprayed a little too far back, but I got a bit closer and put a heavier application right here. And so this is what they promised us, and this is what we got. I love this. This is pretty good as far as application goes. Again, it does need to be a fairly standard thickness. You do need to put on multiple layers. You can't put on one layer and expect to get all the white color like this that the bottle says. What is this? Edward Collins on my freaking fake blood on my table? This last one is more of our fun one. This one we went a little bit crazy with and tried multiple colors. But we did figure something out that has been echoed throughout this video. If you put enough of the layers on, it does give you that velvet sheen. And if you don't put enough on, it doesn't give you that velvet sheen. I would go as far as to say that this is truly the difference in between something like 1 or 2 layers versus 3 layers. You want this. This is essentially the final product right here, this velvet sheen right here. You can see whenever I put 3 layers on, it gives you a glass-like velvet sheen. But the second that you get over here, you can see the light doesn't reflect as well. I didn't put enough layers on. That definitely goes to the correlation of how many layers you need to put on to get the proper effect. This, by the way, was the one that we dipped in our clear gloss glaze, so it is glazed only on the outside. Well, thank you, Dirty Potters, for joining me today. You know, I had a lot of fun testing these out, and for me, personally, this entire video was one big test and a bit of fun along the way. The one thing that we truly found out with these velvet sprays is that you need to put a good amount of layers on, otherwise you will not get the color that you want. At 1 layer, it's almost non-apparent. 2 layers, you can see a little bit of it there. And on 3 layers, once you let it dry and apply again, then you get some of that color that you're trying to get from the actual sprays. As far as a clear gloss glaze goes, this is good. I really don't think it needs a clear gloss glaze unless you're doing something, you know, like functional wear, but this is an interesting find. You really need to put a certain amount of layers on these. But again, thank you, Dirty Potters, for joining me today. Remember to click all those like buttons, and I will see you, Dirty Potters, next week.
Thank you for your patronage.
I have no idea what I'm going to do with this.